Hi there. I'm using a custom gem called Doctor Who, and it just has an instruction set to make your good estimates as best you can. Not to be too hung up about it, but just be systematic. And you see it lets me know why it's doing what it's doing. They seem to get more interested as they go along. They get right into it, as you say. And here you see the whole data set, Iraq from 1900 to 2025. I'll let GPT do the talking. I'll have something to say at the end. I'm just scrolling through the text file. So that's the data that's under consideration. Thank you.
Summary. Iraq is often viewed through the lens of geopolitics or sectarianism, but the CAMS framework invites us to see the nation as something more dynamic, a living, breathing, complex adaptive system, CAS. By quantifying Iraq's historical trajectory across coherence, capacity, stress, and abstraction, and mapping its 9 core societal nodes, we uncover a deeper truth. Iraq is not a failed state, but a resilient, if fragile, symbol, a collective entity shaped by memory, battered by war, and driven by the dream of rebirth. System overview and metrics. Across key historical thresholds from 1900 to 2025, Iraq's CAMS metrics expose cycles of collapse and cautious recovery. Its system health average node value divided by 5 falls below 1.0 during catastrophic junctures, 1915, 1958, 2003, yet peaks at 5.0 during mobilization highs, 1980, 20, 25. However, resilience, measured as capacity divided by stress, rarely crosses 1.0, indicating chronic fragility. Even when node activity revives, underlying strain remains unresolved. In 1900, under late Ottoman rule, Iraq is cohesive and functional, with strong priesthood and state memory nodes anchoring its identity. Yet the system is already brittle. High stress, 4.75 average, and low resilience, 0.816, suggest unresolved tensions within. The trauma of World War I, recorded in 1915, triggers a full collapse. System health flatlines, coherence evaporates, and stress levels spike across all nodes. This is a classic systemic failure, not just of institutions, but of collective sense-making. Post-independence in 1935 sees a stabilization. System health returns to 4.0 and coherence across nodes improves. However, resilience remains low, 0.674, indicating a system still vulnerable to external pressure and internal volatility. That fragility explodes in 1958 during the revolution that topples the monarchy. Node values plummet, the proletariat collapses under stress, and once again the system teeters on the brink. The surprise high point emerges in 1980. As Iraq enters the Iran-Iraq War, it exhibits peak system health, 5.0, high capacity and strong coherence in its army and executive. State propaganda is working. The regime has mobilized the system into alignment, but at great cost. Resilience is still only 1.0, signaling that beneath the surface unity lies structural brittleness. The economy is centralized, dissent is suppressed, and future shocks accumulate unseen. 2003 marks the system's nadir. Following the U.S. invasion and the dismantling of state institutions, Iraq collapses again. System health drops to 0.4375, resilience to 0.229. The proletariat suffers extreme stress, 10, while the executive and army are functionally destroyed. Yet even in this moment of near-total dissolution, the state memory and priesthood nodes retain a glimmer of abstraction, suggesting that Iraq's soul, while buried, is not extinguished. The 2020-25 projection tells a complex tale. On paper, Iraq rebounds. All nodes register moderate to high values, health returns to 5.0, and coherence across nodes rises. But resilience remains below 1.0. The phoenix has risen, yes, but its wings are scorched. The nation's capacity to adapt remains constrained by internal inequality, elite fragmentation, and a history that pulls as much as it pushes. How Iraq thinks and feels. Iraq thinks through coherence and abstraction, and here the data reveals a consistent pattern. The state memory and priesthood knowledge worker nodes show the highest abstraction and coherence scores throughout. These are Iraq's cognitive spine, the keepers of historical memory and normative identity. Even when the rest of the system is in turmoil, these nodes preserve a thread of continuity, from Sumer to the Abbasid Caliphate through colonialism, monarchy, Baathism, and beyond. Conversely, the executive and army nodes show oscillation. They rise in moments of mobilization, 1935, 1980, 2025, and fall dramatically in crises, 1915, 2003. These nodes are Iraq's executive function. They determine the ability to project order. Their instability is the clearest barometer of system breakdown. The proletariat, as ever, feels most acutely. This node consistently bears the highest stress, especially during collapse phases. From Ottoman overtaxation to revolutionary instability, from sanctions to invasion, the working class has carried the weight. Its node value dips into the negative in both 1958 and 2003, indicating systemic abuse. For any future resilience to be real, the stress burden on this node must be addressed. Narrative arc and symbolic persona. Metaphorically, Iraq is a desert phoenix. It burns, it falls, but it never quite disappears. Its soul is fire and memory. Its trajectory shaped by loss and a stubborn refusal to vanish. In 2025, the nation dreams again of unity across sectarian lines, of revived markets along the Tigris, of scholars and poets returning to prominence. The system health numbers support this hope, but also caution us. Without real redistribution of stress and a deeper bond across nodes, the gains may remain brittle. The CAMS can analysis also suggests a duality in Iraq's psyche. One part is Shamash, the Mesopotamian sun god, bringer of truth and order. The other is Gilgamesh, restless, searching for immortality, haunted by grief. The system swings between these poles, striving for stability but constantly tested by entropy and external interference. Conclusion: endurance without illusion. Iraq's story, through the CAMS can lens, is not simply one of failure or recovery. It is a dance of coherence and rupture, a system that has not died but remains under reconstruction. It dreams of strength, but strength, in CAS terms, is not control. It is adaptive coherence, shared abstraction, and the fair distribution of stress. If Iraq can lift the proletariat, stabilize executive function, and preserve the coherence of its knowledge nodes, it may yet evolve into a true
Resilient symbol, one capable not just of surviving, but of flourishing in the long desert twilight. Well, that was the CAMS framework. Being asked to do, oh yeah, I've got a prompt with the equations and a request to do, a more mythopoetic interpretation, but it's well established. And anyway, that's Iraq. Thanks for watching.